Before we get into the video, there is a poll on my channel page currently where you can go and vote for the team that you think is going to win the Super Bowl. So go ahead and throw some opinions my way. See who you guys are favoring to win it all.
Listen now, we the talk around town. Alex threw the ball to Smokey for a touchdown. It's fourth down and you don't really want no more. We've been winning from the door. You should check the scoreboard. Check the scoreboard.
Welcome back to another episode of the Scoreboard. It's Super Bowl time. Coming up in 2 weeks, actually, not this weekend. We're not going to talk about the Super Bowl yet. That's for next week, but we're going to recap a little bit, and we're going to review the season, because it is NFL Awards Week. We're going to be knowing who's going to take home all the awards, and it's also award time for us at the Scoreboard, because we've made a bunch of bets over the course of the season, and we're going to resolve those today, see if someone among us was able to win some stuff. But first of all, championship game recaps, and I'll have to ask the two questions. How are you doing, and how's our standings? Though I know that our standings are not that good after this week.
No, not good. And the answer to both of those questions is not good. I am not good right now. I don't like this matchup. And I stated that on the previous program that
you did.
This is the worst possible matchup for me personally. I do not want to see this, although that's what we got, because that's what draws in casual viewers, is the passing of the torch from Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm not saying it's fixed. I'm just saying somehow the NFL finds themselves in the best possible matchup to draw in viewers and ratings in a year where the ratings are down. But I'm not saying it's fixed.
You think it's a more spectacular one than Rodgers and Mahomes with the MVP?
Yeah, because it's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady. I mean, Tom Brady wins championships. Tom Brady is the GOAT. Tom Brady is the one that the NFL paints is the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
They don't pick Aaron Rodgers as the greatest player. They pick Tom Brady. You know, you go through the NFL's catalog on YouTube or on NFL.com. How many Tom Brady videos are you going to find? Hundreds and hundreds, because they love Tom Brady. Why? Because he sells, because he makes money for the NFL. So True. We got a new Tom Brady, just came to town a couple years ago. Now we need that passing of the torch so we can create this giant display of the passing of the torch from the old GOAT to the new GOAT in a year that we need ratings.
Okay.
But I'm not saying it's fixed.
Mahomes is not a new Brady. If anything, he's the next Aaron Rodgers, because he's that style of player, right? He's a very different style.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's very true. But in the world of ratings, all they see is ratings. So it's just who draws the ratings.
Certainly what it is. Now, I know you'll have some controversial things to say about the Packers game for sure, and probably rightfully so. Let's get into the other one first. So Buffalo at the Chiefs. So we both had Buffalo picked. I said they're the best team in the league. I said they're supposed to win it all. And I also said that the one thing that was going to stop them, if it's either Patrick Mahomes or Aaron Rodgers, have one of those games where they're just unstoppable. And to a degree, that's what happened. But what also happened is Buffalo played their first championship game in decades, and it was very, very apparent, because every single player on that team underperformed. That's simply what it is. The team completely underperformed. The lights were too bright. They choked. The receiver, Stephon Diggs, did not play up to his level. Josh Allen did not play up to his level. The defense didn't play up to their level. Mistakes all the way around. Inexperience, and there's really no excuse there to be made. That's simply what it was. They'll be back there, no doubt. The team is good enough, but this year they were too inexperienced, and they were not supposed to win the game.
Well, and you could say that, they all underperformed. Exactly, you are absolutely right. But how does a team go from the best in the league? Okay, let's just take the receiving unit. Probably the best receiving unit we saw this season. How do they forget how to catch passes from one game to the next? Like, is it the pressure? Are they really that pressured?
I think it is.
Is it? Look, Stephon Diggs made a spectacular play in the playoffs 2 seasons ago to beat the Saints. You know, it wasn't too big of a situation for him.
Was not a championship on the line, though.
True, but still, I mean, it's still a do or die game.
Yeah. It was the whole team. I mean, it was everyone. They just played at 70% their usual strength, and that you can't do that against Kansas City.
Yeah, well, let's look at that side of the ball. Kansas City, you know, having the worst second half of the entire season that we've seen since Patrick Mahomes arrived there. And, you know, what does he have? I had it wrote down somewhere. In December, an 89 passer rating. 89 QB rating in December for Patrick Mahomes. Now, I didn't see what his was for this game, but I bet it's well over 120, I would think, from what I saw. How does that team just all of a sudden like, oh, let's turn it on?
Because they've been there before. They've been in that exact same game last year, and they won it also.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you would think that, but I don't know how many analysts, former players, that have said, you know, the switch doesn't exist. Like, you can't just flip a switch. You know, a lot of people tend to believe that because there are games like the Super Bowl of 51, you know, where Tom Brady came back and destroyed the Falcons in the second half. Like, people say, well, they just flipped a switch. And, you know, I've heard analysts definitely say, you know, former players, that is, not just particular analysts, but former players say that that's not possible. You don't just flip a switch. You know, there are certain factors in the game that causes it. But it literally looked like this team was holding back, sandbagging for the second half of the season, and then all of a sudden they are back to being the best team in the NFL. Doesn't make sense to me, man. You know, and like I said, I'm not trying to start conspiracy theories or say that, you know, this was rigged or fixed or anything. I do believe that the Chiefs outplayed the Bills in this game, and they really did. They destroyed them. But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any sense at all to me.
They're the better team. I mean, we've seen this before. We've seen, even at the highest level, we've seen blowouts. It happens, you know. You know, a lot of daily form involved. Bills were not on their A game, and the Chiefs absolutely were. So that's the way it goes, and that was absolutely definitely the less controversial of the two games. Now, how about the Packers and the Bucs? How about this? I'm gonna let you go first on this, because I know we're going to be talking about very different things with this one.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is the same thing, you know. Tom Brady is the GOAT, so Tom Brady must win under all circumstances. I don't know, man. How? It's kind of the same thing, though. I mean, how does everyone but Aaron Rodgers forget how to play football in a game, you know? And, you know, I got disgusted somewhere in the third quarter and turned this game off. I came back and caught the very end of it, just in time to see Tom Brady hold up the trophy. But were there any flags thrown in this game at all? Because I know once I turned the TV off during my disgust, there hadn't been a single flag thrown in that game.
It was not a lot. I mean, there were certainly penalties, but they did not throw a lot of them. That is very true. For the most part, there was that one part at the end where, you know, the Tampa Bay, the Green Bay pass interference was called, whereas similar pass interferences by Tampa Bay were not called previously in the game, and that's really the point of that people are talking about. So they're yelling at the refs for you know, calling it on one side, not calling on the other side, not being consistent. It was the correct call. I will say this first and foremost: the pass interference on Green Bay was the correct call, but it looks bad in the situation, given that the exact same play happened on the other side, or very much the same interference happened on the other side, and it didn't get called. So it's the lack of consistency. Not that it was a wrong call, because it wasn't. It's the lack of consistency in the calls that people are criticizing.
And forgive me, I think I said that there was none at all. But what I meant to say was there any thrown on Tampa Bay this entire game. Sorry. But obviously not. Is that what we're going with? Because I didn't see any.
I don't remember a noteworthy one.
Yeah.
There probably was some like false start or something, but I don't remember anything.
How many times do we have to go down that road, though, where we have to sit back and question, are the refs actually helping Tom Brady? Like, do we have to go through that every single season?
No, we don't, because we know that it's true. The refs help Tom Brady, but they also help people like Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers to a degree, a bit less so, because they're star quarterbacks that make plays. They will always have preferential treatment. And Tom Brady, as you said, being one of the big heads, the big faces of the NFL, he's always going to have preferential treatment over other players. There's a certain select few, and he's one of them, and he's had it for a long time. We know that it's true. There is no doubt. Statistics don't lie about that, given 20 years of experience.
And like I said, what would be a better matchup in a year that ratings are down than the passing of the torch from Tom Brady to Patrick Mahomes? Oh, I guess, man, it would be crazy if the Bucs actually won this, though, huh? I don't think they'd be mad about that either, because I don't think they'd be mad at all if Tom Brady wins yet another Super Bowl. Yes,
the
exactly.
Home Super Bowl. Yeah. Either way, it'll make good news. That is true.
For the NFL, not necessarily, because you are in the long run. Yeah, you're going to draw in those casual viewers, but you are alienating true hardcore fans doing this. I think so, but I don't think. I think they believe at this point that the true hardcore fans are going to watch no matter what. Like, they're addicted to it. They're not going to give it up. So let's just do whatever it takes to get these casual viewers back in, is what we're missing right now. So
yep, because that's where the TV difference is made. Now I think what they're thinking, and what is to a degree true, is that the memory in the NFL is too short term. The fact is, we're not going to be mad about them and still talking about this a half year from now, because the new season starts, and when a new season starts, like, we forget everything that happened up until this point, and it's only now, here and now, because it's such a short-term memory situation in the NFL. This stuff on a yearly basis, it happens, and it's not going to probably end up costing them long term. Now, I'm not going to be here and then say that games were fixed, or I know that there is always a bias that is statistically true. There's nothing conspiratorial about that at all. I'm here to yell at the Green Bay Packers and Brian Gutekunst at the forefront of that, but I'm going to yell at the entire organization that is the Packers, because it is frankly shocking to me, and I kind of said this was going to happen all season. I feel stupid for picking them, but I've said this so many times. Aaron Rodgers is playing with 21 traffic cones around him. Actually, make it 18 traffic cones, because Jair Alexander, Devontae Adams, David Bakhtiari, they're actually good players. But this is a college team. The Packers are terrible. They are a horrible, horrible football team. And if Aaron Rodgers leaves this offseason, which I dearly hope he will, they're going to sit at 3-13 next year, starting Jordan Love or whoever. They are going to be not just mediocre, not just not good, and they're going to be horrible. And the last 15 years are going to crash down on their heads. Now, if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I'm suffering from some major deja vu, because remember, exactly 1 year back, who carries them all the way to and through the playoffs, to an NFC Championship game, and has the entire world believe, man, the Packers they're pretty good. They're doing good. Aaron Rodgers did, and what happens? A super team comes in that outmatches them everywhere except quarterback and runs them over. And this is the exact same thing that happened this year. Yes, he's phenomenal. He's phenomenally great. He's the best player in the league by himself, but he doesn't play by himself. He plays with a team around him, and he cannot do everything. He can do most of it, but not everything. And it doesn't, and they go and they have this happen to them last year in the NFC Championship game, and they go and draft a quarterback. They trade up to draft a quarterback in the first round. And you have 9 picks, and you don't get a receiver. You don't get a single wide receiver. And you have Aaron Rodgers throw to Devontae Adams, and then you praise your lucky stars that Robert Tonyan turned out to be a good player. And then what? High school talent on that Green Bay offense, and for the most part on defense. It is embarrassing what Brian Gutekunst has done to this franchise. How they are sitting on Aaron Rodgers and nothing but Aaron Rodgers. If I'm Aaron Rodgers, this was the last time I set foot in the building of this organization. I'm out of Green Bay, and I will buy up my own contract if I have to. I am boycotting this team because I want to go back to a Super Bowl because I'm the best player in the league, and that's where I'm supposed to go. Give me a capable team. There's 25 teams in the league that Aaron Rodgers takes to the Super Bowl, and the Packers aren't one of them. So if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I want to go anywhere. I'm holding out. I want to go. It's happened too many times. He's 37. He has to go somewhere and make it count, and it's not happening in Green Bay the way that this is working. And we already saw it happen after the game at the press conference. He was not very happy. He was calling out the team's front office, and it's about time that happened. So you can't keep doing this. If you're Aaron Rodgers, you don't owe this team any loyalty. They have not shown you anything for the past 10 years, and you'd be lucky that you got that first Super Bowl so early on in your career. Imagine if you hadn't, and you'd be sitting there, you'd be going on 40, and you had never been there, and you're still stuck with this excuse for an organization. I feel sorry for Packers fans because they're in for a lot of hurt, because the chances that there's a transition again, Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, they haven't known terrible quarterback play for like over 30 years at this point. And they will know what it's like to be a horrible, horrible team. I'm talking bottom of the barrel. Like, you make fun of the Detroit Lions ever, you're going to be worse than the Lions have been since 2010. And feel sorry for Packers fans, but that's what it's going to end up looking like. And hopefully, for Aaron Rodgers' sake, sooner rather than later, because I want to go anywhere else. But that's me yelling at who is responsible for this dilemma. I think, by the way, no hard feelings towards Matt LaFleur. I think he's going to do well as a coach. Gonna have to reprove himself without Aaron Rodgers because that's the best makeup you can give to a coach. But that front office, the draft strategy, the GM, unexcusable. It's absolutely terrible, and something needs to happen and fast for this team. We'll see where they go in free agency and the draft. But yeah, that's rants over, I think. So for the recaps, let us know what you think about those games after we blew off some steam there. We're gonna have some other things to talk about as well here. First of all, we have predictions to make because it's award week. We get an NFL honors on the weekend and before the Super Bowl, and we have predictions. Now, we have picked the correct ones, not the ones that it's going to be, but what we think are the correct awards. So we're going to go through all of them. I'm going to read them out. We're going to give our picks, and we'll see who we have. So let's just start off with one I think we should probably agree on. The comeback player of the year. Who do you have for this one?
Well, I don't think there's any argument here. I mean, maybe some people are going to make the argument of Big Ben, but it's definitely Alex Smith. I think probably 99% of the football world would agree with that. You know, there maybe outside of Pittsburgh, that is. What Alex Smith did coming back after such a gruesome injury 2 seasons ago, and actually getting on the field and performing well and winning games. Like, I mean, of course, we've never seen that done before. It's unprecedented. Joe Theismann never made it back on the field. So, Alex Smith, you know, he should be the runaway award winner here.
I will absolutely agree with that. I'm going to actually say that he's going to win unanimously -1. There's probably going to be one weird guy, you know, the kid with the really big glasses that always sat in the back left corner eating hot glue. He's going to vote for Rob Gronkowski. The rest is going to be Alex Smith, and very deservedly so. But yeah, this is the easiest comeback player we've ever. I mean, people are calling for the award to be named after Alex Smith after the season, just because of how impressive this actually was. So I'm absolutely going to agree with the fact that it will be Alex Smith, and that there should be no doubt. Not this season. Other seasons we could talk about it, but never this year. Big Ben, JJ Watt, Rob Gronkowski, whatever, but it's definitely gonna be Alex Smith. How about Coach of the Year? This might be a little bit more of a debate.
You know, I'm sure a lot of the world, or a lot of the football world, is going to say Bruce Arians. And maybe, as much as it pains me, I've always liked Bruce Arians. The only thing I really don't like about this Bucs, other than them being divisional rivals of the Atlanta Falcons, is Tom Brady is their quarterback now. So, maybe Matt LaFleur, but God, I don't want to make that pick, but I guess I will. I'm going to stick with it. Go with Bruce Arians.
Bruce Arians, okay. That's an interesting one. I will say, first of all, disclaimer, I'm totally partial in who I'm picking because I have a bet on this. I have 16-1 odds before the season. I'm going to make some money off this.
Josh McDermott?
Sean McDermott, absolutely, for the Buffalo Bills.
Josh, my bad.
You really like their quarterback. It's fine.
Got Josh Allen and Sean McDermott mixed up.
Now, I'm not going to be mad if it's Kevin Stefanski because he did it with the Browns, and doing it with the Browns is hard mode, even for the NFL. But Sean McDermott, to me, this Bills team, incredibly impressive, save for this one game, which, is forgivable, their first championship game of the millennium, and they will be back, I have no doubt. But, Sean McDermott for Coach of the Year. Outstanding job the way that he's prepared this team every single week. Did a film study on it recently. They're doing great work in Buffalo, and they are going to be contending for this division for a long time. He should absolutely be credited for that. Building up this team, turning Josh Allen from someone that people had written off as a bust, because we like to really overreact about quarterbacks in this day and age, but into a legitimate MVP candidate and maybe an MVP in itself. We might get there later in the show. He might have a shot this year. But Sean McDermott for Coach of the Year. I'm going to win $160 with that bet that I made, so I'm going to be happy about that once it happens, and therefore it has to be my pick. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, and before we move on, man, I definitely had Sean McDermott for most of the season. I think this past week it really skewed my opinion of everything, man, especially these picks right here. I mean, and we'll talk about the MVP later. What are we doing? Offensive Rookie of the Year?
Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yep, and I'm sure that most people are going to say Justin Herbert in this one, but I particularly think this award should go to Justin Jefferson, because this guy has progressed as a rookie wide receiver faster than anyone that we know of, right? I mean, obviously his stats are better than any rookie wide receiver ever. So, and I kind of had a feeling that you're going to go with Justin Herbert, so I thought I'd spice it up and pick Justin Jefferson.
I will go with Justin Herbert. Absolutely. Best rookie season we have ever seen by a quarterback. He is a legitimate top 10 quarterback in the NFL, which doesn't happen often. It's important that we stress how rarely this happens after their first year, their rookie season. With a quarterback is incredibly rare. He is phenomenal. The Chargers are right now, aside from Jacksonville and the Jets, my first pick to double their win count next year, and that's going to mean playoff time for Los Angeles. They're going to be the better team in Los Angeles, is the other thing. But Chargers are going to be looking good. Much more competent head coach in the building. Anthony Lynn was a big part of the reason why they had struggles over time, even though Justin Herbert played phenomenally. I mean, he was a legit top 10 quarterback as a rookie. Of course, Joe Burrow got hurt. Tua Tagovailoa only started halfway through the season, also ended up getting hurt and missing some time. But no one would have stopped Justin Herbert from winning this award either way. So absolutely, he's winning it. Now, the whole receiver class we talked about ever since early 2020, the receiver class was ridiculously strong, one of the best I can imagine. And by the way, we have another very strong one coming up this year. But the 2020 receiver class is one of a kind, and Justin Jefferson so far looks like the best of the bunch. Which wasn't even necessarily expected. You had, of course, CeeDee Lamb, you had Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Chase Claypool, Brandon Ayuk. There's so many first-round talent receivers. 9. I had 9 receivers, first-round talent. Justin Jefferson, the best of the bunch. Definitely credit to him, but Justin Herbert, doing it as a quarterback is extra difficult, and that's why he should absolutely win the award. Bright future. Very bright future. How about the other side? Defensive Rookie of the Year.
I personally don't think that there's any question here either. I mean, some people are going to argue Jeremy Chin from the Panthers, who had a few giant blow-up games. But as far as overall, turning a less than mediocre defense into a viable game-winning defense by the end of the season, and a rookie doing that, going with Chase Young, for the Washington football team.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I'll also go with that. People are going to say Antoine Winfield as well for the Bucs safety. Yeah. Honorable mention, very, 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 very strong. But Chase Young, we've seen it last year, very much the same replicated with Nick Bosa doing it. San Francisco top defense in the league. Now, Chase Young statistically not at the same level, but Nick Bosa's rookie season was frankly ridiculous. I saw a stat recently on Twitter saying that after the championship game, I think Frank Clark is now tied for most pressures in the playoffs over the past 2 seasons with Nick Bosa. And Nick Bosa didn't even play in this year's playoffs. And he was a rookie last year when he did it. So he had 27 pressures in 3 playoff games last year. That is completely ridiculous. Chase Young, not quite following that stat line, but still similarly impactful in the Washington defense is for real. So he should absolutely win this, no doubt, because the pass rush is the most impactful thing that you can get and improve on defense. So Chase Young, my pick as well. The offensive player of the year.
And, I can't go with any of my MVP picks because I like to keep those separate. Although this guy would be in line if we went far enough down the line. I am going with the most dominant running back of possibly a generation, and Derrick Henry down in Tennessee, because this guy is completely unstoppable, and the colder it gets outside, the harder it is to tackle him. Every year we see him having these monster games by the end of the season. So if you're not going with a quarterback, the next best thing is Derrick Henry.
I will throw a little bit of a wrench in the works here. How about Wyatt Teller? Have you ever heard of him? Offensive lineman, the right guard for the Cleveland Browns, the highest graded offensive lineman and the 3rd highest graded offensive player, leaving out quarterbacks in the entire league after, I believe, only Travis Kelce and maybe Devontae Adams, if even that, or Trent Williams, if even that. The Browns did a 180. We talked about how well they did that, and the running game is a big part of that. Him and Jack Conklin, as well as the rest of the Browns offensive line. But Wyatt Teller, 6th round pick, if I remember correctly, to the Buffalo Bills. No one had ever heard of him until he was a free agent, signed up, picked up off the street by the Cleveland Browns. Most dominant interior run blocker in the game, better than Quentin Nelson, better than Zach Martin this year. Right away, and opened the way for a dominant rushing attack with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, who both had phenomenal seasons. I know an offensive lineman isn't going to win. Yeah. I said Quentin Nelson should win when he was in his rookie year. He should win Offensive Rookie of the Year, at least he didn't. Which is, that's it goes back to what you said about the biggest names and the stories that sell and the news. Offensive line play is not important to the average fan, and the casual viewer doesn't know any offensive linemen. But I'm gonna go with the offensive lineman. I'm gonna give them some respect because it was a phenomenal season, and I wanted to go a little bit different there. Now, being realistic, I think Derrick Henry is a very good pick though. How about the defensive player of the year? Sorry.
Well, another thing, the perennial finalist, if you want to say that, it would be Aaron Donald, and he had another great season. He's right up there in the running. You could almost, I don't think it's going to happen, like you said, it's not quite the Nick Bosa season, but you could almost put Chase Young in that category also. But personally, I am going with TJ Watt because he has joined the ranks of what JJ Watt has done in the past, and I imagine we're heading into maybe a decade of dominance by TJ Watt, much like we saw happen with JJ Watt, and time will tell if JJ Watt has fallen off at this point in time, but the next in line is TJ Watt, and I would give him Defensive Player of the Year.
Man, there's so much edge talent in this league, it's unbelievable.
It is,
TJ Watt is, I believe, only the 2nd highest graded after Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa's 3rd, but he's had a phenomenal season, no denying the impact he's had with the Steelers. I like to use these 2 awards to highlight the players that aren't necessarily obvious just because of their position. I picked an offensive lineman here, and with the defensive side, it's also quite biased in favor of the pass rush. Obviously, they look very impactful. If you have a top cornerback, you don't see him all game because that's how good they are. They don't get the ball thrown their way. Now, last year, Stephon Gilmore won Defensive Player of the Year because he was, frankly, outstanding as a quarterback, but even that's a rare sight. You get edge rushers, you get Aaron Donald because he is actually a competitive pass rusher. From the interior, I'm gonna go linebacker because they never get appreciation. I'm gonna go with Fred Warner, linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers, one of their Iron Men, one of their very few Iron Men who started throughout the season and did not get hurt. So, highest graded linebacker, not even close, by the way, by a bunch, over 3 points ahead of Bobby Wagner, at 89, I believe, PFF grading, which is very, very impressive for a linebacker. And given the rotation of players and the amount of different people that he had to work with over the entire season and up and down of that franchise, with everyone being hurt, makes it all the more impressive. He's the best linebacker in the NFL by this point. He's developed into the best coverage backer, best sideline-to-sideline backer. He's not going to win because he is a linebacker, but in my opinion, the best defensive player of the year, and I like to highlight out-of-position players, so I'm going with Fred Warner as my defensive player of the year. And the big one, of course, the MVP of the league. Who do we have?
Now, if you would have asked me last week, I was definitely going with Josh Allen. And
it's a regular season award. This is not a playoff award.
It is. Well, okay, in that case, I'm going with Josh Allen. The thing is that last week does affect people, and you know, I guarantee you, the committee picking these awards for the NFL is definitely letting the playoffs skew their opinions.
Lamar Jackson won unanimous MVP with a bad playoff loss last year. Didn't even make it.
Yeah, but he was uncontested, though. I mean, think about Matt Ryan. Now, this is something you could probably agree with me on. And as much as I like Matt Ryan because he's an Atlanta Falcon, the year he won was because he went to the Super Bowl.
You think so?
If he would have got knocked out in the last round, I don't think he wins that award. I'm
not sure about that. I'm not sure. But it's supposed to be a regular season award. There might be some bias there for sure, but yes. Last year was definitely, because they could have given it to Mahomes. Mahomes went to the Super Bowl, and Lamar got smacked in playoffs. He was terrible, but Lamar won it unanimously, which is a big thing.
But the problem being that last season, Mahomes had a regression, a decline. He went from 50 passing touchdowns to 35, whereas I would have to look at the stats. I can't remember Lamar's exact final numbers, but it was way over Patrick Mahomes in the end. Of course, passing, not being what Mahomes had, but he far exceeded it. But when it comes down to being close, I think this is absolutely going to affect it. I think if you look up the nominees right now and voting, Josh Allen has fallen because I definitely have seen him at second at some point in this in the postseason. But I guarantee you he's probably fourth or fifth right now.
He's still second.
He's what?
He's still second.
No, really?
Yeah, he's still second. Against the odds, yeah.
Oh, in the
slightly
odds?
Ahead of him. Yeah, he's odds favorite. Yeah, he's second ahead of Mahomes.
Oh, okay. I was talking about the voting committee, but I think overall Rodgers wins this. I don't think even. I mean, if Patrick Mahomes wins this, I think it's injustice. But I guarantee you they're going to try to put Patrick Mahomes up there if any way possible. If it's a split decision between Rodgers and Mahomes, they'll probably push Mahomes out there. But I think it's undeniable the season that Rodgers had. And my personal pick is Josh Allen because of the drastic change from last season to this season and how well. And Aaron Rodgers had 48 touchdowns. No, they like to tout that Josh Allen had 37 touchdowns, but that's passing touchdowns. He also had 10 rushing touchdowns to add on top of that stat. So, you're talking one touchdown apart. He has the same QB rating as Patrick Mahomes with 7 more touchdowns total. So I picked Josh Allen. I think the voting should be Aaron Rodgers, though.
Yeah, I'll say Josh Allen is a fair pick, and it's a completely reasonable pick. Any other year, he was the second best quarterback. With the MVP, I don't like to play games like I do with the offensive defensive player. I like to give it to maybe not the most favorable, because we know the MVP is biased, right? The MVP is quarterback biased. We understand that. But here's the thing. Imagine a world where the MVP is not quarterback biased at all. Every offensive position has the same chance. Who should be the MVP, the rightful MVP this year? And the answer is clearly Aaron Rodgers. It's not because he's a quarterback and he's the best quarterback. It's because he's the best player in the NFL. And he showed that this year more than he ever has. And he would be in the Super Bowl right now and prohibitively favored against anyone if he wasn't on exactly the Packers or maybe the Jaguars. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be the MVP. Aaron Rodgers is the individual best player in football. Irregardless of position. And typically that doesn't happen a lot. When Matt Ryan won his MVP, he wasn't the best player in football. When Lamar Jackson won last year, he might have not been the best player in football. Maybe Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago was. Tom Brady 2017, not the best player in football. Typically the MVP isn't the best player. It's the quarterback or the best quarterback on one of the best teams. But Aaron Rodgers was the best player this year, and he's been the best player of the last decade. So he's going to win this MVP, and he absolutely should. I don't think that Josh Allen or Mahomes are going to get a lot of votes in this, and I'm not sure if anyone else is really in consideration. We talked about Ryan Tannehill for a bit, but he kind of fell off, so it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Henry.
He's a running back. I mean, realistically, he's a running back, even if he wasn't. Aaron Rodgers is better.
I think they like to put a running back or maybe even a wide receiver on a very special occasion in the finalists, just to, to make you believe that it's not going to be a quarterback, or that there's some possibility that it won't be a quarterback, but it's always a quarterback.
It's always, Derrick Henry's going to be offensive player. He's in the race for that for sure, but not a quarterback.
For the sake of the credibility of the NFL, I hope that it's Aaron Rodgers. I really do, because if it's Patrick Mahomes, I'm going to blow a gasket.
It's not Patrick Mahomes. He was straight up a worse season. He will have his share of MVPs, as will Josh Allen, but this year it's Aaron Rodgers. And luckily for those two, their entire careers will not be playing at the same time as Aaron Rodgers. Now, I will say we did see a wide receiver win the Heisman. Not a quarterback this year.
Yep. Yeah.
But not going to repeat in pro football. Nor should it. Nor should it. Aaron Rodgers is the best player, not just the best quarterback. Now, that's our awards. We have one more thing, and if you've been a viewer of the show, you know we do this every once in a while. We make bets, because sometimes we disagree on stuff, and we bet for a variety of food and drink items, more specifically Monster Energy, not a sponsor, and pizzas. And this year, we made a couple bets as well, by which I mean I believe 10 or 11 of them. And most of them, all except for one or two actually, have ended. So we can conclude those, put them in review, and see how this ended out. So do you want to first give any prediction? Do you have a feeling on who won, who lost in terms of bets? If you remember last year, we tied evenly exactly.
I think you should be ahead right now by the ones I remember. I think sometimes you actually come up with bets, and I'm like, damn, I don't even remember saying that. But I think sometimes also I'll make a bet just because I'm messing with you in the moment too, and then months later I'm like, I don't remember that at all.
It happens for sure. I try to take advantage of whenever you lean out a little bit, but I'll go through them. We'll go through the ones that are more obvious or completely undisputed first. Make sure we have those in the basket. First, the Chargers win record. With the over-under 4, you took the under, I took the over. They took Justin Herbert, and that's a clear over. They won more than 4 games. That is me winning 3.
Close, though.
It was not close at the end. It was only close. Anthony Lynn sucked, and they got some people hurt.
They got lucky with those wins in the past 5 weeks. No,
they didn't. They beat the Chiefs. They would have maybe beat him if Mahomes played.
They beat Chad Henne.
It was Chad Henne is he's a really good quarterback. He was really good. They almost beat him. They almost beat him in Justin Herbert's first career start. Came down to 1 possession of beating the Chiefs. and then they beat him later on. The Chargers are for real going into next season. Justin Herbert's great. Over under 4 sounds ridiculous. I clearly win this. 3 cans for me there. We had the Super Bowl rematch, which would have happened, by the way, if not everyone on the 49ers ever ended up getting hurt this year. And you know what? I might make it again for next year, depending on seeing if Aaron Rodgers goes. If Aaron Rodgers goes anywhere else in the NFC, I won't, but I might make it again. It was 10-1 odds. I said yes. You said no. 1 can on the line. You win 1 monster. So that is also clear. Vikings win record over under 8. I took the over, a bit too confident. You took the under and you were right, so you win 3 cans on that. A head coach getting fired before week 9, and I said yes on that. You said no.
Did I
more
really?
Than one head coach.
See,
yes,
that's
more
one
than
I
one.
don't remember, because I clearly remember thinking, well, Bill O'Brien has to get fired.
I think you said Adam Gase most
Adam
of the time.
Gase has to get fired, and I don't know how he lasted the whole season, and I knew Dan Quinn needed to get fired, so I don't know why I would have ever taken that bet.
Before week 9, you said no. We had 3-1 odds, to be fair, for no, so maybe that's why you took it.
Maybe so.
3-1 odds. I said yes, I was right. I win 1 can. Heisman winner. You took Kyle Trask. I took Mac Jones. Neither of them correct. I could argue I was closer, but it doesn't matter. No one wins anything.
Okay, your guy came in 3rd. Mine came in 4th.
Yeah.
So
the Houston Texans to make the playoffs. You said yes. I said no. They're not going to make the playoffs. They did not make the playoffs. They did really not make the playoffs. 4 cans for me. We have Kyler Murray's second season being better or worse than his rookie year. You said better. I said worse. I was hoping he was really going to choke in the last 2 weeks. He ended up being okay, and you convinced me. We looked at the stats together. It was over. It was a better season than his rookie. He had better stats. He did fine. Almost made the playoffs. Didn't quite. But overall, maybe not as much better as people would have liked, but definitely better than his rookie year. So you win 3 cans on that. Tua Tagovailoa being the Bengals starting quarterback in 2020. That was a bet I made ages ago. Before Tua got hurt on his hip in college and ended up falling on the draft boards. And Joe Burrow having the best college season by a quarterback ever. So he ended up not going first overall to the Bengals. I got the fact correct that the Bengals would pick first overall. I did that, but they did not pick Tua. You won that bet. You win a pizza with that bet. That was the only bet we put a pizza on.
Oh, wow.
That we had this year, so you win that. And then we had a Jake Fromm being in the his draft spot over under 3.5. Of course, you being a Georgia boy, you said over. I exploited it easily. Said under. Obviously, I was right. Win 1 can for that. And with that, we are currently
in my defense on that one though. He actually was ranked in the top 4 when I made that bet. That was before his junior season when I said that.
Right, yeah.
And he was in the top 4 in the nation at that time. It's just no one realized how much he was going to suck in that season.
But at this point, I already had Tua and Justin Herbert basically guaranteed to go ahead of him because I knew they were still both there.
And I figured he would go at least 3 or 4, but no.
Joe Burrow came in also.
I think he went like 10th or something in the end.
It was a win. So with that, we have 3 bets that are still, actually 4 bets that are still open. And the first of them is Deshaun Watson versus Mahomes for the MVP. Now, we said most likely, we can't call it yet. I gave you 3-1 odds to pick Watson. We can't call it yet because I guess Mahomes theoretically could win. In all likelihood won't, but he is in the running, so I'm not going to call it just yet. If Mahomes wins, I win 1 can. If he doesn't win, and as we expect, Aaron Rodgers wins the MVP, then no one wins anything, so I'm going to leave that open for now. And the second slightly controversial one is Deshaun Watson to be a top 5 quarterback in 2020. You said yes, I said no. Now, I was very convinced that he wasn't, and then I went to look at the stats to make sure that's the case. And I looked at all the criteria, checked where he was top 5. Did he perform like a top 5 quarterback? I'm going to read those out to you, and then I'm going to tell you my verdict, and you can see if you agree with it or not, okay?
Okay.
Deshaun Watson was in the top 5 in total passing yards this year. He was, however, clearly not in the top 5 in terms of record. In fact, the Texans did terribly, and they missed the playoffs. He was top 5 in passer rating, but was not top 5 in touchdowns or interceptions. He was top 5 in completion percentage, but not in first down percentage, and he actually is in the top 5 worst for sacks taken. He was he took the second most sacks in the league. So a couple more stats in the top 5, but here's in a way it was not in the top 5. But here's the thing: I will offer you to call this bet a tie because he was second in passer rating, and I think it's the most important one. So him being second in passer rating, that's the best indicator of him as an individual player, and he was not just top 5 but top 2 in that. Even though the touchdowns to interception ratio not very good, and he didn't really win, I'm willing to call the bet a tie, and if you're okay with that, we're going to do that, and nobody's going to win anything.
Yeah, I'll take that, even though he was, actually, I have to look it up. Was he top 5 in fantasy? But yeah, we'll call it a tie. We'll go with that.
So that was 2 monsters on the line. No one wins anything. The other bets we have open is the Dolphins-Cardinals. Who makes the playoffs first? Both had a chance this year. Both missed it last week. That's going to be a big one with one pizza, 2 monsters on the line. That's still open. And the Kyle Trask draft spot. Took the over-under on 4.5. You have the under. I have the over. That's going to be resolved this spring.
Another college quarterback that I bet on that was actually in the top 4 when I made the bet. I think he was 3 at that time. And he was actually he was 2 behind Trevor Lawrence for the Heisman running. And of course he finished 4th in the end because the Gators just crapped the bed at the very end of the season. Like they literally let the bottom fall out of it there.
So I'm relatively confident that Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, and Zach Wilson are going to go ahead of him in whatever order. Mm-hmm. But then there's still a couple players that have a chance to make number 4. That's all that I need. Mac Jones, Trey Lance, whatever. I think I still have a good shot at this. It's 4.5, not 3.5, like we did with Jake Fromm. But I'm still okay with that bet. I think he's going to go 5th or 6th in terms of quarterbacks. So I will be fine with that. Tallying up all the bets that we have definitively resolved. I'm going to leave the MVP open for now, though we assume it's going to be a tie. We have a count that has me winning 2 cans of Monster and you winning 1 pizza. So we'll see how that turns out with the rest of the bets. If some stuff equals out there, maybe if the Dolphins make the playoffs before the Cardinals, I can equal out the pizza. But that's the current standings. So I'm ahead of you in the cans. You ahead of me in the pizzas. That's how it went in 2020.
Nah, not bad.
Do you want to make any bets? Actually. Do you want to make any bets in terms of the awards that we talked about? Are you willing to back up Justin Jefferson with a can or 2?
Oh man, that's gonna be a close one.
Maybe Bruce Arians. Anything we disagreed on.
No, I mean, you know what? I got to thinking about it after I made the Bruce Arians pick too. I think Brian Flores should be in that group also. To tell you the truth, I mean,
hey, if you want to make a bet, I'm down.
That's pretty big turnaround.
I'll defend Sean McDermott over anyone. I have already bet on him.
Dude, I mean, trust me, I like Sean McDermott. I mean, I would have picked him all the way up until this past week. I just got so disgusted. I think I went through all of the stages of grief because I was like in disbelief. I was like, that's not really happening.
You're not even a Bills fan.
I mean, peripherally, yes. I mean, I've always liked the Bills, but
yeah, the Bills are cool.
Bandwagon. Hold on, I guarantee you I could play this program from 2 seasons ago when the Bills were awful, where I said that the Bills was my second team.
That is true.
Yeah, it's not bandwagon.
At that point, I would have said Bills or Chiefs, and I'm still going to say Bills or Chiefs because I still like them.
But then there's also the fact that I picked Josh Allen to be the MVP, in which I know it's a regular season, but
you're not going to bet on that, I assume.
Nah.
Don't bet against Aaron Rodgers.
Got it, yeah.
The good thing about the MVP is that his team can't kill it for him. Like they're awarding it to Aaron Rodgers, not to the Green Bay Packers. So there's nothing the Packers front office can do to prevent Aaron Rodgers from winning the MVP.
So if he does leave, where does he go?
Anywhere.
Colts,
Steelers, 49ers, anywhere. Just the Rams. No, not the Rams. God, no, not the Rams. But
yeah,
he might go to the Rams. anywhere. It doesn't matter. Go to a better team than Green Bay. It doesn't matter. Go somewhere. Like, go to Canada. Go to back to college. Play for Alabama.
Oh, I could have. Could you imagine he goes to Canada?
The Lions. You know what? I'm gonna go to Brian Goody because I'm gonna say, you trade me for Matthew Stafford, and maybe you get a pick. You know, he's a couple years younger than me. I'm gonna be a Lion. Stafford a Packer. I'd like to see that.
Okay.
Not for Stafford's sake, though. It'd be mean to Stafford. But yeah, go to the Lions, go to the Bears, and just kick the Packers.
And I know your answer for this, but my question to the people listening: do the Packers get better with Matt Stafford or worse? And do the Lions get better or worse? I know you're going to say that the Lions get infinitely better, because the
Packers with Matthew Stafford win 4 games. With the average quarterback, they win 1 game, and the Lions go to the playoffs with Aaron Rodgers.
Wow, you believe they're that bad, huh?
Listen, I'm telling you, there is not a lot of teams worse than Green Bay. There hasn't been for many years. It was the case last year, and it was the case many years before that. Aaron Rodgers really masks it that well, and we will see that if he decides to leave, which I hope he does. If there's any way he can go to San Francisco, that's where he wants to be. That's where I want him to be. If he signs with San Francisco, he already can book his tickets to Super Bowl 56 because he'll be there. Or with the Colts, the same thing. Colts, Steelers. He's already in next year's Super Bowl if he signs there. I will guarantee it. I'll bet on it. If he doesn't get hurt, that's where he's going.
I don't think it's just any team. The Colts, yes.
Let's think of teams. Let's think of teams that if they, as they are right now, Aaron Rodgers quarterback, they don't go to the Super Bowl. What teams don't go to the Super Bowl if Aaron Rodgers was their quarterback right now? If the Patriots get their players back that held out, I think they go.
Oh, that's definitely one of them. Patriots.
The Giants?
Cardinals.
No, the Cardinals go. Oh, the Cardinals are going.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Listen, the Cardinals are going. They have you give him DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, and a good defense. It's over.
Larry Fitzgerald's gonna play again.
Of course, he's gonna play. He's gonna play forever. He's you know that him. Larry Fitzgerald, Frank Gore, and Tom Brady, they'll meet up every offseason. You assholes still playing? Okay, I'm back. I'll be back. Exactly. That's the case. Where does Aaron Rodgers go and don't go to the Super Bowl? Jacksonville?
Yeah, Jacksonville. The Jets.
Houston. Oh yeah, Houston. Houston for sure.
Yeah, Houston.
Because he's not that much better than Deshaun.
If a top 5 quarterback can't even get them to win half their games, then yeah.
He's not going. Houston might be the worst team in the league. If it's not Green Bay, Houston is the worst team in the league.
Yeah, they're right up there with the Jets.
Take the quarterback away.
So.
Yeah. No, Jets are. I think the Jets are better. I think the Jets are a lot better than the Texans, the Packers, and the Jaguars, given their team.
So you're saying right now, 2023 Packers first overall pick.
First overall pick next year if they trade him this year. Maybe the top 5 pick
for the 2020. Okay, that'd be the 2022 draft. I'm sorry.
We don't know what Jordan Love is going to be, but if they trade off Aaron Rodgers and they replace him with the 16th best quarterback in the league, they are winning 2 games, and I am fully serious about this. This is how bad the Packers are, and we will see it when it happens, if it happens, which I hope it does for Aaron Rodgers. But the Jets will be better. You keep Sam Darnold, maybe you trade him, but Robert Saleh is going to turn the organization around. He's the anti-Adam Gase. That team's going to look completely different. I'm telling you, not a lot of teams that don't go to the Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers. The Packers are one of them, and they've managed to do it twice in a row, which is saddening, but that's how it is. So, been going on here for a while, 53 minutes. Thank you everybody for watching. Do you have anything to add, or do you want to make a bet? First of all, I should ask that. Justin Jefferson, Brian Flores, whatever. Do you want to stand up for one of them with a bet?
Man, the only thing I would is, I don't know. I guess the coach is really up in the air because,
who do you want? I'll give you a 1-to-1 odds with anyone.
Should I take Bruce Arians or Brian Flores? And are we just doing, Bruce Arians versus Sean McDermott?
Sean McDermott. 1-to-1 against anyone of your choice.
Can I take the field?
No.
Ah.
Any one person of your choice. 5-to-1 for the field.
Oh, 5-1 for the field.
Yeah, I'll give 5-1.
I don't know. The Bills were so good in the regular season.
Better just take one guy.
I'll take 1-1 for Bruce Arians because he's Tom Brady's quarterback, and I do not put it past them to pick him.
When's the last time Bill Belichick won Coach of the Year?
Well, that's true.
He's been the best coach in the league every single year since, 1999.
Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Maybe they'll stay away from Bruce Arians because they want you to believe that Tom Brady does all of this on his own.
But now it's the first year that he's done it with Bruce Arians, so maybe now it's still special.
Maybe.
I'll write it down. For how many cans do you want to put? Let's do 2 cans. Or just one. Even just one is fine.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 can.
That's so hard to pick.
I'm gonna write that down, and we'll see how that goes.
I'll take Justin Jefferson versus Justin Herbert too, 1-1.
1-1 for 1 can.
Yeah.
I'll write them down. Okay, we'll see how that goes. But let us know your picks, your predictions for all these awards in the comments of the video. And we're going to be done for this week. And we'll be back throughout the entire offseason next week. Super Bowl predictions. We're going to foreshadow the Super Bowl with some conspiracy theories. Probably, as long as you're going to be there. We'll see how it goes. Who do you have picking? I have a poll on the community tab on my channel that's live for the entire 2 weeks until the Super Bowl, where you can go vote.
I already made my vote.
Who do you think is going to win? You already made your vote, yes. I knew what you were going to vote, and I expected to. Actually, we have a lot of people voting for the meteorite this year. It's crazy. But you can go there and vote. I will say that again. So go ahead and do that. Let us know what you think, and we are going to see you in the next one.
Deuces.